I, I could listen to Harvey all night, and like you, I thought I was going to have to. But I tell you, I've known Harvey for 30-some years. He is like my brother, and I say that to you sincerely. I trust him with my life. He's one of the most talented people I've ever seen, and he's been my mentor over the years. Also want to congratulate Eric and his beautiful wife for this unbelievable turnout. Ladies and gentlemen, when he asked me to come speak, I had no idea we'd have this many people here tonight, so congratulations to him. Now, they told you a little bit about me. Let me tell you what I know about you. I talked to some of you during the course of the day. I understand I'm talking to a very successful group of people, but a group of people are here because you want to take it to another level. I appreciate that, and I feel an awesome responsibility to make sure that the next 50-some minutes are valuable to you. Now, 10% of you won't remember 10% of what I said 10 minutes after I said it. But for the next few minutes, I want to share thoughts and ideas. I'm not going to preach. I'm not going to lecture. I'm not going to stand behind a podium. I'm not going to read from notes. I'm going to talk from my heart. And the stories I share with you are absolutely true. I'm not going to talk about something I read about, heard about. I'm going to give you a philosophy that I believe in. Now, I'm going to make 4 assumptions of the people in this audience. Number 1, I'm going to assume you want to be even more successful professionally. And I'm going to also assume you want to have a good personal life. I do not believe you have to sacrifice your personal life to be successful professionally or vice versa. My greatest accomplishment by far, ladies and gentlemen, is not coaching, not TV, not speaking. It's my family. And I learned 4 things as a husband. I've been married 58 years. 4 things I learned was I was wrong, you were right. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you. But my family is very important to me. The 3rd thing I'm going to assume, you want to feel needed. If you didn't go home, people would miss you. If your company ceased to exist, people would miss you. And the 4th assumption I'm going to make is you want to feel secure about your future. Now, understand who Lou Holtz is not. I'm not a singer, I'm not a dancer, I'm not an entertainer, I'm not an intellect. When I graduated from high school, I was in the lower third of my high school class. If it was not for people like me, there could have been no upper half of the class. I just in the bottom. I'm not particularly smart. Somebody said you've written 3 New York Times bestseller. I've written more books than I have read. So I bring that. So you understand, I am a simple individual. There's nothing very complicated about me. And when I went to Notre Dame, Father Joyce said, Coach, there are certain things at Notre Dame are not negotiable. Don't think you're going to come here and change them. I said, what are they? He said, we don't redshirt. We don't have an athletic dorm. We have high academic standards. We have poor football facilities. We're going to play the best teams we can play. The other thing we are going to change, we have a policy at Notre Dame. The head football coach at Notre Dame not allowed to make more than the president of Notre Dame. The president of Notre Dame is a priest who took the vow of poverty. They paid me $95,000. I paid them $75,000 because I had 3 children at Notre Dame. Free tuition didn't kick in. They'd been there 5 years. But he didn't say a thing that would keep us from winning. He didn't say you could only play with 8 and everybody else has 11. What I've learned, and I'm an old man now, my birthday candles cost more than a cake. But I promise you, you're always going to have problems, you're always going to have difficulty, you're always going to have challenges, you aren't going to get away with it. That's part of life. And you have to learn to handle it, to understand that there's going to be challenges. You're never going to be home free. June 22nd, 2015, 2:30 in the morning, I'm awakened by the smoke alarm. Our house is on fire. I got my wife, wakened her. We got out of the house with only our bathrobe. Now, I'm on record, I awakened her. We're not sure she would awaken me, but we don't know that. 1 month before the house burnt down, we're driving in the driveway. And I said, when you're in East Europe, Ohio, did you ever think you'd live in a home this beautiful? My wife's very religious. She said, this home doesn't belong to us, it belongs to God. She said, everything we have belongs to God. So an hour later, a month later, the house burned down. I said, God, you ought to do something about your house. You know, it's not mine. You're concerned. But there we were. Everything burnt to the ground. Sunday morning, 8 o'clock, nothing but smoldering ashes. My wife's crying hysterically. We lost everything. I said, you have 24 hours to cry, to wallow in self-pity, to feel sorry for yourself. Come 8 o'clock Monday morning, we're never going to look back. We're going to move forward. That's the thing we do. We can't live in the past. And I gave her an unlimited budget to rebuild it, and she exceeded it. She has that unique ability to do that. But see, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have problems, we're going to have difficulties, we're going to have obstacles. But the one of them, Father Hesburgh said to me, he said, Lou Holtz, in an hour, we're going to go into a press conference. I'm going to announce to the world, you're the head coach at Notre Dame. What I cannot announce to the world, you're the leader of the Notre Dame football team. He said, I'd give you the title because titles come from above. See, people can name you the manager, they can name you the executive, they can name you the president. They can't name you the leader. The players will determine if you're a leader. And if you're going to be a leader, number one, you have a vision where you want to go. Everything starts with a vision. Having a vision where you want to go. When I was growing up, I never had any goals. My dad had a third-grade education. I was born in the cellar during the Depression. I never had any goals. I remember in the first grade, the nuns asking everybody, what do you want to be? I want to be a lawyer, a doctor. I want to be a garbage collector. She said, that's weird. I said, but they only work on Tuesdays. You know, that's, to me, that's the way I thought. I never thought big. But ladies and gentlemen, do not make the mistake I make. If you listen to nothing else I've said, do not make this mistake. The dumbest thing I ever did in my life, I went to the University of Notre Dame. We took a program on the bottom, we took it to the very top. For 9 straight years, we went to a January 1 bowl, the sugar, the cotton, the orange, or the fiesta. Nobody's done before, nobody's done it since. It's the thing I regret the most because you get on top. You say, this is pretty good. Let's not risk anything. Let's not change anything. Let's maintain. It's real life, you're either growing or you're dying. The tree's either growing or it's dying, so's grass. So's a marriage, so's a business, so's a person. Has everything to do with my trying to accomplish something. The more successful you are, let's protect it. Let's not take any risk. Let's not try to grow. Let's maintain. And anytime you maintain, you're dying. You have no enthusiasm, no excitement. We finished second in the country at Notre Dame. Everybody called me an idiot. Guy finished his last in medical school, they call him doctor. That doesn't seem fair. But let's just maintain. Let's not risk anything. When I left Notre Dame, I never thought I'd coach again. Where did you go from Notre Dame? According to my mother, you go directly to heaven, you sit by the Pope. Then I went to live in a town, the average age is deceased. And what I found out, it has everything to do with my trying to accomplish something. Decide what you want to do. Then answer these questions honestly. It'll determine whether you have a goal or you have a wish list or a dream list. Decide what you want to do. For example, with our football team, we want to win a championship. Then answer these questions. What financial sacrifice are you willing to make in order to win that championship? What personal sacrifices are you willing to make in order to win that championship? What skills and talents do we have to acquire in order to win that championship? What bad habits do I have to get rid of in order to win the championship? Who do I have to work with in order to win the championship? You answer those 5 questions honestly. That'll tell you whether you're really sincere about wanting to accomplish something or whether you have a wish list or a hope list. See, ladies and gentlemen, to me, everything starts with a dream. Having a goal, having a vision. I never had many goals, I mentioned. But one day I was unemployed, and I read a book, The Magic of Think Big by David Schwartz. He talked about goals. And I got a paper and pencil and did the things he asked me to do. Column number 1 was things I wanted to accomplish as a husband and a father. Best advice I ever got as a father? When our first child was born, Dr. Oliver said to me, most important thing you can do for that child, make sure that child always knows how much you love their mother. I've never said a negative word to my wife or about my wife in front of our children. Now, in the bedroom, that's different, but in front of the children, no. There's things I want to accomplish religiously. There's things I want to accomplish financially. Club number 4 was things I wanted to accomplish professionally. I wanted to be a head coach. I wanted to coach at Notre Dame, win a national championship, be in the Hall of Fame. Column number 5 was things I wanted to do for excitement. I wanted to jump out of an airplane. I wanted to land on an aircraft carrier. I wanted to go on a submarine. Wanted to go whitewater rafting on the Snake River, make a hole in one. I wanted to go to the White House for dinner. I wanted to visit with the Pope. I wanted to go to Pamplona and run with the bulls with a slower person. And I was unemployed at the time. I had 106. My wife added we get a job, so we've done all of it. But everything starts with a goal. And I told you about those 4 assumptions. I want to give you a simple plan that will enable you to reach those 4 assumptions. I don't care what goals you have. And I don't care whether you're talking about being a spouse, a husband, a wife, whether you're talking about being a parent, whether you're talking about business, whether you're talking about being a leader. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not very complicated. I don't know why we complicate life. We shouldn't. Do you realize there are only 7 colors of the rainbow? Look what Michelangelo did with 7 colors. There's only 7 musical notes. Look what Beethoven did with 7 musical notes. There's only 10 numbers. Look what Bernie Madoff did with 10 numbers. So I'm not saying it's always good, but it does not have to be complicated. Keep life simple. You only need 3 rules. I'm going to give you 3 rules, and the only 3 rules I've ever needed. And I've never needed a 4th rule in 40-some years. We have federal laws, county laws, state laws, corporate laws, bylaws, in-laws. Most important law are these 3 laws. Law number 1, make good choices. You know, ladies and gentlemen, there are approximately 400,000 words in the English vocabulary. Most important word by far is the word choice. Whatever happens in your life is going to be because of choices you make. Choose to do drugs, drop out of school, join a gang, get tattoos from head to bottom, get arrested. You're choosing to have difficulty in life, and stop blaming me. Let's learn to make good choices. God gave us a lot of powers. We have the power to love, to think, create, to imagine, to plan. But the greatest power we have is the power to choose. You choose whether you're going to act or procrastinate, believe or doubt, pray or curse, help or heal, succeed or fail. But the most important choice you make every day is your attitude. Ladies and gentlemen, I promise you, our players had a better chance to catch my attitude than they did to catch a cold from me. The attitude that you have filters down. It doesn't start at the bottom and come up. It starts with you and go down. Your attitude is a choice you make every day. To me, I say just choose to do what's right. That's all. Rule number 1, make good choices and choose the attitude and choose to do the right thing. I think it's right to be honest. Right to be on time. Wrong to practice sexism, racism, spousal abuse. I think it's wrong to feel guilty. We've all done dumb things. You can't go through life with an albatross around your neck saying, I made a mistake. We all do. Say you're sorry, make amends, and move on. Happiness is nothing more than having a poor memory. If you can't remember what happened yesterday, you feel good today. And don't tell people about your problems. 90% don't care. And the other 10% are glad you got them. So you're better off keeping to yourself. And you can't be bitter. We all have injustices done. We've all had injustices done by society. We've had injustice done by spouses, by business. You can't go through life being so bitter that when you pass away, your spouse has to hire pallbearers because you don't have 6 friends. Ladies and gentlemen, I go to Arkansas, I have the best win-loss record in the history of the school. I have the second best win-loss record in the history of Southwest Conference, only the Dare Royal. Graduated the athletes, 7 bowl bids, 7 years, 4 top 10 finishes. And to show their appreciation, he fired me without a reason. I was so mad, I was so bitter. I was going to the media. I knew where all the bodies were buried. I was going to get even. And my wife said, you don't get ahead of anybody by getting even. She said, it's not right to go say negative things about people even though they hurt you. She said, we'll move on. I never said a negative word about Frank Broyles that fired me or Arkansas. 2 years later, the story was told to me by Gene Corrigan, the coach, the AD had hired me at Notre Dame. He called Frank Broyles, the guy that fired me. He said, we're looking at different coaches. We wonder what happened with Lou Holtz. He said, I listened to somebody tell me something that wasn't true. He said, Lou Holtz, the best coach I've been around. I know he's always wanted to coach at Notre Dame. If you hire him, don't talk to anybody else. I end up at Notre Dame because the guy that fired me, my wife would not allow me to be better. And the attitude we have, what's your attitude when you have adversity? The stories I share with you are absolutely true. Let me tell you what happened my first year at the University of South Carolina. My wife had her second major cancer surgery. They gave her 10% chance to live. And I don't pray for my wife anymore. I pray to her. I mean, she's a saint. My son Skip went into a coma the week we played Georgia. My mother died the Friday before we played Florida. I'm on a school airplane recruiting for 3 days. We landed at Lady Island Airport, and the pilot said, Coach, when we visit Darnell, Washington, we'll fly 11 miles to Hilton Head to get gas. We'll come back and get you. During that 11-mile flight, the school plane crashed. One pilot was killed instantly. Another seriously injured later died. We lost every football game we played that year. We went 0-11. And I had a kicker that said, I can't kick when you're watching. You know, explain I am going to be at the games. But now we're 0-11 that year, but records could be deceiving. We really weren't as good as our record would lead you to believe. And everybody's bitching and moaning. He's too old. The game passed him by. You can't win at South Carolina. Nasty newspaper articles, nasty phone calls. I'm in an airport after that first year. The guy come up and said, anybody tell you look like Lou Holtz? I said, happens all the time. He said, makes you mad, doesn't it? You're on the bottom, you got two choices. You stay down or you pick yourself up. You can succeed when no one believes in you. You have no chance to succeed if you do not believe in yourself. I can't begin to tell you how many times I got down on my knees and prayed for the courage and the strength. When I walked into a team meeting, I walked into a staff meeting, there was no doubt that we were going to persevere and we would succeed. Ladies and gentlemen, my personal belief is, if you want to do something bad enough, you will find a way. If you don't want to do it bad enough, you'll find an excuse. The excuse is a lot easier to find than solutions. And if you want to do something bad enough, you will do it. And quitting is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. 6 months later, South Carolina had the second greatest turnaround in the history of NCAA football. We beat Ohio State on January 1 following year, finished 11th. The country beat Ohio State again. The point I make, you're going to get knocked out. That's part of life. But it's the attitude that we have. And that's making a good choice about the attitude. And one last thing I want to say about the attitude, you can't let other people control your attitude. We're going down to play Florida in the Sugar Bowl. We're an underdog. I'm coaching at Notre Dame. And I always want our team to be with their family on Christmas. So for 2 days, I sent them home. I took my wife and my 4 children to Orlando. We went out to dinner. I have 4 children. They're all girls but 2, and I'm very proud of that fact. And I'm never happier than when I'm with my family. I'm in a great mood, and our waiter came up and he said, you're Lou Holtz, head coach at Notre Dame, aren't you? And I said, yes, sir. And I took out my pen thinking he wanted an autograph. He said, let me ask you a question. What's the difference between Notre Dame and Cheerios? I said, I don't have a clue. He said, Cheerios belong in a bowl, Notre Dame doesn't, ha, ha, ha. I'm in Florida. I'm in a bad mood. I'm rather competitive. That made me mad. And finally, my wife said to me, you're going to let somebody you never met before, you never going to see again, ruin an evening with your family? She said, you cannot let other people control your attitude, particularly people who don't care about your liking. She was right. Why should I let him ruin an evening with my family because they said something stupid? And my attitude changed. We had a wonderful evening. I felt so much better. Later in the evening, I called the waiter back over and I said, son, let me ask you a question. What's the difference between Lou Holtz and a golf pro? He said, I don't have a clue. I said, a golf pro gives tips, which he found out when the meal was over exactly what I meant. You can't let anybody control your attitude but you. Let me get to rule number 2. Do everything to the very best of your ability. That's all I ask. Not everybody can be All-American. Not everybody can be All-Conference. Not everybody can be first team. Everybody can be the best you're capable of being. Your obligation as leaders is to make people the best they can be. See, ladies and gentlemen, most people don't know how much talent they have. They want to get by with the bare minimum. As Woody Hayes told me when I coached for him, you're a leader, you want a friend, buy a dog. Your obligation to make people the very best they can be. And I have one of these personal beliefs, that when you join a team, you join a spouse, you join a business, you join the military, you have obligations and you have responsibilities. People say, what's the difference between athletes today and 40 years ago? Today, everybody wants to talk about their rights and their privileges. 40 years ago, we talked about our obligations and our responsibilities. And all I want people to do, and I believe that as a coach, and if we're going to be the best we can, understand your mandate. Don't complicate life. You have 2 mandates. Only 2. Satisfy the customer and make a profit, period. I had 2 mandates as a coach. Graduate and win. Not put them in the pros, not know. Graduate and win. If I won and didn't graduate, I'd get fired. If I graduate and didn't win, I'd get fired. Those are the only 2 things important. If you don't satisfy the customer, you aren't going to make a profit. If you don't make a profit, you ain't going to be in business long. See, ladies and gentlemen, if we're going to be the very best we can be, we got to have a team. We got to rely on other people. Every time I've taken over college situations, I would sit down and in practice, I'd bring out a huge rope. And we'd have the offense and defense would be in the tug of war. And the offense would start to win and go, yeah, we won. So we can't win when we pull against each other. And then sit them down and talk to them about teamwork, which applies to your business as well. First point I make, we need each other. You know, there are all kinds of Hall of Fames, but there's never been a monument built to a team. But a team enables you to accomplish something that no individual can accomplish, regardless how multi-talented they may be. So let's understand we need each other. Point number 2, we have a goal and you have a role. Our goal is to win, your role is to cover kickoffs. Oh, I don't want to cover kickoffs. I want to catch the ball. I don't like that role. See, ladies and gentlemen, you have a role. And you must do that role to the best of your ability so you don't cause other people to fail. And one of the greatest feelings in the world is to be a leader. Do you realize the hopes and dreams and ambition of every employee under you? To buy a home, to educate their children, to buy a car, to take a vacation is contingent upon the leadership you provide and the decisions you make. See, a lot of people can be successful and make money when they die, that ends. But as a leader, you have a chance to be significant. Your significance when you help other people be successful, that lasts many a lifetime. But I'm one of these firm believers. You have a role, we have a goal. I'm at the University of Notre Dame, we're playing Stanford, coached by Bill Walsh. We're ahead 16-0, we lose the game. Devastating. I hate to have failure, I hate to lose, but I know that's part of life. But I went back and analyzed, why did it happen so it doesn't happen again? You know why it happened? We'd had so much success that as a leader, I started letting little things slide. Oh, they'll do it on Saturday. Don't make them upset. Don't get a tantrum over that. And I went to the team on Monday. And I said, ladies and gentlemen, I said, men, I lowered the standards. I've raised them. And if I'm murdered tonight, the police won't even investigate it because you'll probably all be a suspect. But I am no longer going to accept less than the best you're capable of being. We had an All-American guard, Aaron Taylor, was injured into practice. Didn't take very long into practice. Realized the second-string left guard was just going through the motions. His man was making every play. The other 10 guys are playing their heart out with nothing to show for it because one guy. I stopped practice. I said, what gives you the right to cause your teammates to fail? He hemmed and hawed, didn't have an answer. I was so mad. I said, go stand on the sideline and think about it. It was stupid, but third string left guard jumped in the huddle. I said, no, we're going to play with 10. Hadn't planned it, but I was mad. We break the huddle. Defense said, what do? I said, act like we have a left guard. Rick Meyer takes the ball, gives the ball to Reggie Brooks, our tailback. Oliver Gibson comes through, the vacant left guard. Here's Reggie Brooks, Susie gets the ball. Tremendous thud, moment of silence. Reggie started to moan, he couldn't see. Scares you. Turned the helmet around, he was okay. Came back to the huddle. After 3 plays, that open rebellion. I said, what's wrong? What's wrong? We don't have a left guard. I said, when did you notice? They said 3 plays ago. I said, I'm tired of pretenders. I'm tired of imposters. I'm tired of impersonators. We played last Saturday with 8 players and 3 imposters. I'd rather played with 8. Oh, we would have lost. But everybody would have said, wow, if we had 11 like them, nobody beat us. We never lost again for the next 17 straight games. Understand, we have a goal, and you have a role. And your job as a leader to make sure everybody follows that. The third point is the challenge escalates. The need for teamwork must elevate. You don't need teamwork to fail, but you need it if you're going to succeed. In 1 year at Notre Dame, we played Michigan, Penn State, Miami, Florida, Tennessee, Texas, Alabama, Southern Cal, and Stanford. Somebody said, how'd you sleep when you looked at that schedule? I said, like a baby. Woke up every 2 hours and cried. I thought, oh. But you don't need teamwork to lose. And the fourth point I make is embrace change. Ladies and gentlemen, make whatever changes need to be made in order to satisfy the customer and make a profit. Whatever changes should be predicated on those 2 things. I want everybody in here to envision a train wreck. I want you to envision 2 trains coming together, I'll guarantee you. Every one of you envision it from a safe distance away. Now I want you to envision a train wreck, but you're on the train. All of a sudden, you're going to make whatever changes need to be made to avoid that train wreck. So make whatever change you have to make, satisfy the customer, and make a profit. Let me get to the third rule and the last rule. Develop a love and a feeling in your company. If you can develop a love and a feeling on any organization, a family, a team, a business, it's going to go. Now let me say this. I happen to be vice president of a company called Outtake out of Indianapolis. I was hired 3.5 years ago to build a team. We were sort of dysfunctional. The same way I built a football team, we have built the program at Outtake. Now we now have 950 employees. We're getting ready to hire another 300. You can call the owner, Scott Law, and say, did he turn around the culture of the company? And I did it with those 3 rules, but build a love and a caring for people. My wife and I are opposites night and day. She said opposites attract and then attack. And she left me a note not long ago, said, Lou, I can't please everybody in the world, so I'm going to stop trying. I'm going to focus on pleasing 1 person a day. And the day's not your day, and tomorrow doesn't look real promising either. She's done 1 interview in her entire life because it had to do with cancer. Only 1 interview. And they said, Miss Holtz, what did you learn from having cancer? She said, I learned how much my family loved me. We didn't love her anymore. We showed it. Why do we have to wait for somebody to have a catastrophe? Why is it we only say nice things about somebody at their funeral? Ladies and gentlemen, you can find 100 things to dislike about everybody. You can find 100 things to like. But all I want you to do is care about other people. My wife said, how can you talk about caring about people with a bumper sticker on your car? I have a bumper sticker on my car she doesn't like. We go to Mass on Sunday. I park in the back of the lot so people can't see it to please her. The bumper sticker said, Jesus loves you. Everybody else thinks you're an asshole. That's what I thought it was funny, and she doesn't, but that's the way it was. We win the national championship at Notre Dame, and we go to the White House. We're at the White House the afternoon. We fly a charter plane back to South Bend. That same night, I'm awakened at midnight to tell me Bobby Satterfield died of a congenital heart defect. Ladies and gentlemen, Bobby Satterfield's at the White House the afternoon. He's dead that night. I said to the school operator, call every player, tell them I want a team meeting at 7:30. I wanted to tell them about Bobby Satterfield. I walked in that room. They were in a great mood. They thought I was going to resign. That's why I called it. I said, man, last night Bobby Satterfield died of a congenital heart defect. One player passed out. Almost every player in that room wept real tears. If you're in that room, you couldn't tell if Bobby Satterfield was white or black. You couldn't tell if he's offense or defense, first team or third team, scholarship or walk-on from the East Coast to the West Coast. What you could tell, they lost a friend. Bobby Satterfield was a black defensive back from Los Angeles, third team walk-on. He wasn't a great player. I couldn't put a film on and say, watch Bobby Satterfield make a great play. But they loved him because he was part of them, not because he could help us win. He was a part of the team. That's why the team was great. But I will say this, every time Bobby Satterfield was in the game, I felt confident we'd win by 30. Because if we weren't ahead by 30, he wasn't in the game. But that team was great because they loved one another. Ladies and gentlemen, those are the only 3 rules I've ever used. And you'll never need a 4th. Make good choices by doing the right thing. Do everything best to your ability and show people you care. Why are those 3 rules important? Because there's 3 things you must develop in your company. The first thing you have to develop is trust. You got to be able to trust one another. You cannot have a relationship if you cannot trust one another. My wife and I have been married because we can trust one another. The customers have to be able to trust you. Your employees got to be able to trust one another. If you don't have trust, you don't have a team. Now you're a smart group. If trust is so important, how can I make sure that I always have a trust in my operation? Remember rule number 1? Remember rule number 1 was make good choices and do the right thing. The reason you do the right thing is it's the only way you can build a trust within the organization. The second thing you must build a commitment to excellence. That everybody in the organization is totally committed to excellence. Oh, you can have all the slogans you want. First we'll be best, then we'll be first. You send a message, whether you're committed to excellence by the standard you have. See, ladies and gentlemen, that's why we have rule number 2. Do everything to the very best of your ability. Not because somebody's looking, not because somebody's going to applaud you. I did the David Faraday show. And I had back surgery. And they give me a questionnaire. You have back surgery, who to contact in case of emergency. I put down a doctor. But I don't call my wife. She can't do anything about it. But because of back surgery, we had to go to Notre Dame and do part of the show. And we're in the locker room. Oh, it's beautiful now. Plush carpeting, beautiful hand-carved lockers. David Faraday said the locker wasn't like this when you're at Notre Dame. I said, oh, no. We had concrete floors. We had steel lockers. But I said, David, if you walked in our locker room, you could tell there was great pride. Because every helmet was where it belonged. Every shoulder pad was where it belonged. Every shoe. See, ladies and gentlemen, no matter what you do, no matter how small it is, you do it to the very best of your ability to show people you're totally committed to excellence. That's why rule number 2, do everything to the very best of your ability. And the last thing you have to develop is a love and a feeling and a caring. That's why those 3 rules, rule number 1 develops a trust. Rule number 2 shows everybody you're committed. Rule number 3 shows you care. It isn't complicated. I fool around with magic a little bit. I'd like to do a simple little trick for you. Not very complicated, but just like any other newspaper. You have front page for people who want to read the news. You have the comics for people who can't read. And we always have the editorial page for people can't think. Now, that's all. We have 3 pages. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to take somebody you love, admire, and respect. Can be anybody in this world. Take somebody you love, admire, and respect. Then I want you to take somebody you got a problem with. Can be anybody in this world. Put these 3 questions on both people. Simple, yes or no. Can you trust them? Yes or no. Are they committed to excellence? Yes or no. Do they care about you and the organization? Yes or no. I'll guarantee you, the person you admire and respect, you said yes to all 3 questions. Person you got a problem with, you pinpointed the problem. I used to do this with a phone book when I was younger, but I guarantee you pinpointed the problem. Either you can't trust them, they aren't committed, or they don't care. It's not any more complicated than that. And that's why I say, many of you are going to think, oh wait, somebody, no, I'm not done. I'm not done. Somebody said, how did he do that? Perfectly, I thought, but in any event, I wake up middle of the night screaming because I can't figure it out. But here's the point. The person you admire and respect, you said yes to all 3 questions. Person you got a problem with, you pinpointed the problem. You can't trust them, they aren't committed, they don't care. And when they violated that rule, I'd call them in, I'd sit down. I'd say, Jim, I don't believe you're doing the best you can in Spanish 2. Here's why. You got an A in Spanish 1, you're getting a D in Spanish 2. You missed class 3 times. You missed study hall twice. You missed tutoring once. I don't believe that's the best you can do, and I want to know why. You never attack the performer, but you must attack the performance. That's not the best you can do, and I want to know why. Remember, when people need love and understanding the most, is usually when they deserve it the least. So, ladies and gentlemen, by having those 3 rules, all I want to do, I want to develop a team that we can trust each other. We're totally committed to excellence and we care. And when they violate those rules, that's exactly what we would do. And with millennials, if I went back into coaching, I'd be a better coach than I've ever been before, because I've learned certain things. What you say to somebody is important, ladies and gentlemen, but what you say is not near as important as your tone of voice. And your tone of voice is not near as important as your facial expression. When somebody fouls up now, I'd put my arm around and say, Jim, that was the dumbass thing to do. You have no idea how mad I am, but you're going to find out Monday when nobody else is around. The madder you get, the more you smile, and the softer you speak. Ladies and gentlemen, last year I had some wonderful things happen to me of players I coached. I had 2 players that I coached that were put in the NFL Hall of Fame. That's pretty good. Tim Brown and Jerome Bettis. I had 3 players I coached added to the Notre Dame coaching staff. Todd Light, defensive back, Autry Denson, running backs, and Jeff Burris. Then I had 2 players I coached added to the Board of Trustees at Notre Dame. That's no small feat. Brian Spruell, who's president of the NBA. Rod West, who's vice president of Arkansas Power and Louisiana Gas. Ladies and gentlemen, all 7 of them are Afro-Americans. All 7 of them had every reason to bitch and moan and complain that life wasn't fair. And I don't take credit for it. Credit goes to their parents, but more importantly, it goes to them because they made good choices. They didn't want to wallow in self-pity and feel sorry for themselves. They went and they followed those 3 rules. Ladies and gentlemen, those 3 rules, along with good fundamentals. People say, what do you want on your tombstone? On my tombstone, I want to say, I told you I was sick. Nobody believes you're sick. But if you aren't going to put that on it, put that he believed in fundamentals. See, ladies and gentlemen, one thing I like to think is our football team could always block and tackle. I don't know the fundamentals of your business, but excelling in fundamentals is critical. But if you excel in fundamentals and you build a group of people that can trust each other, committed to care, it's unbeatable. I would tell this story to our football team every fall when they reported. I'm looking, my time's rapidly running out. By the time they were seniors, they were tired of hearing that, but I told anyway. Guy walked in the pet shop, wanted to buy a bird. The guy said, I have all these birds here for $1.98, but I got the ideal bird for you. It's only $615. Guy said, the bird looks like the other one. Said, but those birds just sit there. This bird talks and sings. Guy said, gee, that's a lot of money. I'm all alone. Bought the bird, came in the next day, said, bird don't talk or sing. Guy said, what did he do when he rang the bell? He said, didn't you buy the bell? I said, no. He said, that bird ain't going to talk or sing unless it can ring the bell. The bell's only $18. Guy come in the next day, said, bird don't talk or sing. They rang the goddamn bell. The guy said, that's impossible. And the same type of bird as you. When a day my bird got up, rang that little bell, ran up and down the ladder. The guy said, what ladder? He said, didn't you buy the ladder where the bird can exercise? Bird ain't going to talk, sing unless it can use the ladder for exercise. The ladder's $29. Goes on 4 days. Every day sells him something different. Guy come in the fifth day. Said, I have $819 invested in the bird. Today the bird finally talked to me just before he died. Bird got up this morning, rang that little bell, ran up and down that ladder, swung on the swing, looked in the mirror, all the things you sold me. Just before he died, he looked over at me and said, didn't he say you ain't bird seed? See, we get caught up in all the fancy things and we forget the basic fundamentals. Now, I don't know the fundamentals of your business, but I promise you this, ladies and gentlemen, the stories I shared with you are absolutely true. But everything is based on doing the right thing, on doing the best you can and showing people you care. There's a statue of me at Notre Dame. I guess they need a place for the pigeons to land. I don't know. But if you go there, don't look at the statue. Look at the pedestal. There's 3 words: trust, commitment, and love. So, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't put them there in Notre Dame, and the players put them there because that was our culture. That was our core values. And as King Henry VIII said to his 3rd wife, ain't going to keep you much longer. And I'm not going to keep you much longer. But I believe this, the bottom of my heart, that, as Mark Twain said, the 2 most important days in your life, one's the day you're born. The other's the day you discover why you're born. We discover we're born to help other people, to assist them. We're born to be the very best we can be. You've been a delightful audience. I didn't mean to talk that long, but it's your fault. If you'd gotten up and left, I would have stopped a long time ago, so don't blame me. When I stood up here, I said 10% of you wouldn't remember 10% of what I said 10 minutes after I said it. For practically lost 44 minutes, you give me your most prized possession. That's your time. I leave you with this last thought. Want to be happy for an hour? Eat a steak. Want to be happy for a day? Play golf. Want to be happy for a week? Go on a cruise. Now to me, going on a cruise like being in jail. Go on a cruise. I don't know. You want to be happy for a month? Buy a new car. You want to be happy for a year? Win the lottery. You want to be happy for a lifetime? Make sure people would miss you if you didn't show up. And the only people we miss in this world are those that add value to other people's lives. And I guarantee you, the person that adds value to other people's lives are the ones you can trust, one's committed, one is care. This is how we built the culture. I've taken over 6 college situations, never inherited a winner, never failed to go to a bowl game by the 2nd year at the latest. But those are the things. And I never felt I coached football. I felt I coached life. The same things would make them better husbands, better parents, better business people, better citizens, and a better friend. You've been a delightful group, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you for what you do. Thank you so much.